This is Star Kuiper Jr. back again, looking at Week 10 here. It's getting right down to the final few weeks, and playoff spots are being determined. It's a big week in the lot for a lot of teams. Last week went 2-3, brings me to 26-19 on the season. Had a couple heartbreakers late Monday. Shark lost when a soccer game broke out, so that kind of turned around my week there. And then, of course, Luck only had to overcome 8 points to beat Ben. So, anyway, we move on to this week, hopeful for bigger and better things. First game of the week is Kitty at Ben. For Kitty, I love Lacey against the Bears. Bears defense is terrible. Lacey should rack up some good yardage, get a chance to score. She's got Antonio Brown, who in my eyes is probably the best wide receiver in football right now. He's getting 5 to 7 grabs a game, always a threat to take it to the house on any play. So Antonio Brown looks good this week as well. I like the Packers defense too against the human turnover, a.k.a. Jay Cutler. Packers should cause a couple turnovers, might have a chance to turn one into a pick six. So Kitty's got a few good options going there this week. For Ben, Megatron comes back. I'm a little concerned that he'll be rusty. So it might not be the Megatron that Ben's looking for. Bell and Forte both have tough matchups this week from a running perspective. Bell gets the tough Jets run D, and Forte gets the Packers. And I'm a little concerned that'll turn into more of a shootout, although Forte can get involved in the passing game. Don't look for big rushing stats from him. I just think on paper and for matchup sakes, Kitty's got the better look this week, so I'm going with Kitty to win over Ben. Second game is Scoresman at Mama. Sorry, Mama, when you lose perfection, you get shuffled back down the list of games. For Scoresman, Stafford should play well. Megatron will either come back as a weapon or as a decoy. Either way, it should loosen some things up in the secondary for Stafford to put up some decent numbers. I also like some of Vin's role players. You got Ivory and Macklin, both playing at a real high level. And then I think Julius Thomas is going to have a nice day against that Oakland D. So a couple good options there. Over on Mama's side, the problem here is that he's got so many Chargers in that lineup. And of course, San Diego's on a bye this week. He's missing half of his team. We saw what that did to Starr last week. When he had half of his starters on a bye, you just can't put up good numbers. And for that reason, I'm picking Scoresman to win. Third game is Fuff at Outlaw. Fuff's got a couple nice matchups. Rodgers is going to play well in that Sunday night game against the Bears. I like Kelvin Benjamin this week. He's had a couple big drops the last few weeks, but that Philadelphia secondary is susceptible to the wide receiver, and he is a big target, and I think Scam will be leaning on him quite a bit. I don't think Lamar Miller is going to have a good day because that Detroit run D is so good up front. That front four is really tough to run on. And Brandon Marshall's just got to come out and prove himself. He's been nothing more than just a big complainer over the past month or so. If he wants to turn things around for Chicago, he's got to step up, start getting open, and start catching some balls. But until he does that, I think he's kind of a liability in Fuff's lineup. For Outlaw, he's got the hottest quarterback in the NFL in Ben Roethlisberger going this week. The Jets secondary is susceptible. They can be beaten. They blitz a lot. Look for him to get Antonio Brown the ball on short passes in space, and that could spell trouble for the Jets. And I like all of his Denver players this week going against Oakland. I think Denver's going to get out to a big lead, and all the usual suspects will get involved. So with that said, I like Outlaw to win over Fuff. We got Stinker at Hooligan. On paper, Stinker looks great, as he does every week. Obviously, he can shuffle Breeze into the lineup this week. Good matchup against San Francisco in New Orleans on that fast turf. I like Breeze to have a nice day. Murray and Lynch should both have nice days. The Jaguars for Murray, they can't defend anything, pass or run, so I think DeMarco has a big game. And then Marshawn Lynch goes up against the hapless Giants in Seattle. Look for him to be a big factor in that game. The player I'm not too fond of there in Stinker's lineup, who's been great of late, is Ingram. If there's one thing San Francisco defends well, it's the run. So look for Ingram to find it tough to run this weekend against San Francisco. For Hooligan, obviously Peyton's going to have a big day against Oakland. I like what I saw out of Jeremy Hill last week, replacing Giovanni Bernard. He gets Cleveland this week, who's suspect against the run, so I think he's going to get Julio off to a nice start on Thursday night. My question marks in Hooligan's lineup are Bobby Rainey. I don't know how that Atlanta-Tampa Bay game is going to go. The last one was a blowout. There's an opportunity for Atlanta to get up big in this game, and if they do, Rainey's not going to be utilized a whole lot in the run game. And then Odell Beckham going out to Seattle. We know that secondary's tough. Young wide receiver, probably be matched up against Sherman and the rest of those corners out there in Seattle. So I don't look for a lot of production from him in that game. So with all that said, I think this game's going to be really close. I was this close to picking Hooligan, but I've got to go with the better lineup and some of the better matchups, so I'm picking Stinker to beat Hooligan. And then in our game of the week, we've got Star at Shark, the only two teams this week that are over 500 that are playing each other. For Star, Cutler's going to be forced to throw a lot in that game against Green Bay. I think Green Bay is going to come out and, of course, put up a lot of points against that bad Chicago D. So Cutler's going to be throwing quite a bit. I think that Atlanta-Tampa game, Julio and Stephanie both have a chance to thrive. Julio torched the Bucs earlier this year. I think you're going to see him have his breakout game. He's been sort of in a lull for the last month to month and a half. I think he tears up that Tampa secondary. And Stephanie's going to get a couple goal line touches and have the ability to get 50 yards rushing, maybe run out the clock in the third and fourth quarter when Atlanta's up by 3 or 4 scores. Tampa's just quit. They've quit on Lovie Smith. They've quit on each other. So I think Atlanta wins big in that one. And then Randall Cobb will continue to score at an alarming rate in that Green Bay-Chicago track meet. So I think those are going to be the pluses for Star's team. On Shark's side, staying with that same game, I think Nelson comes up big. They're probably designing a couple double moves for him to get behind that Chicago defense. Demaryius Thomas will be part of the onslaught with Denver against Oakland. And then the one question mark I've got for Shark this week is Juwan Thompson. In that Denver backfield, I think Hillman's going to be the guy. He might get some garbage time looks in the fourth quarter if Denver's up by 4 or 5 touchdowns. But there's also the opportunity that he could not play or just get 1 or 2 carries for no points. So kind of a hole in Shark's lineup there. So with all that taken into consideration, I'm picking Star to win this game this week. All right, so there we are, Week 10 coming down the line here. Good luck to everybody, and I will see you in Week 11. Bye-bye.